year began with a documentary film called The Man Who Had Two Names. This film told the story of Mr. Bizi Weiss of blessed memory. Bizi grew up in Brooklyn, the son of two Holocaust survivors, and went on to study at Columbia University, where he received a law degree, where he became known as Bob. But all the while, back at home in Flatbush, Bizi remained Bizi, ever loyal to his family, his friends, and his community. And above all, Bizi had a magical sense of humor, which he used to uplift and inspire all of those close to him, as well as to advance the causes near and dear to his heart. To tell Bizi's story, we interviewed close to 20 people, and then combined those interviews with hours of archival footage that his family provided to us. The story that came together was a 30-minute film that was shown at Bizi's first yard site, and then shared online with thousands of people around the world. After Tishrei, we were approached by Bnei Olam Baltimore to create the video campaign for their annual online fundraiser. Given what had just happened in Eretz Yisrael a few weeks prior, we had to make sure that the theme paid proper attention and respect to the sentiments of the community. What we came up with was to reach deeper into the story of Bnei Olam. To do this, we created a short film about a mother sitting with her daughter and reminiscing about the time that she spent as a young girl with her grandmother. This film highlighted how throughout generations, in both good times and difficult times, the dream remains to build a future, to build the next generation, to have a child. Together with this film, we created a kind of behind-the-scenes video that allowed the directors of Bnei Olam Baltimore to share with their community the purpose and ambition of this campaign. For a few years now, we have been asked by Eshel House to create the keynote film for their annual gala fundraiser. Eshel House is a special organization in Houston, Texas, that hosts patients and their families who are in Houston for extended medical stays. This year, Eshel House was honoring a local and world-renowned cardiac surgeon who had helped one of the patients who had stayed by them. To tell this story, we flew to Houston to interview and film this surgeon, as well as the people who run Eshel House, and then to California, where we filmed the patient and his family. The idea of this film was to bring out how the kindness that begins in Houston has ripple effects throughout the country. After this, we were approached by Raisathon on behalf of Yaldei. That's an organization that helps Chabad Shluchim who have children with special needs. The challenge that we faced with this project was that given the sensitive nature of the stories of the people that they help, none of these people could be asked to come on camera for a typical interview. So what we suggested was to approach the story through metaphor. And we came up with a film called Brick by Brick, which showed each of the shliach's different challenges as a different brick that he had to carry as he goes about his work. This film brought home to the audience, many of them for the first time, the unique challenges that come to the shliach who has a child with special needs. After this, we were approached by Fresh Start, an organization in Michigan that helps people who need a second chance in their journey of mental health. Once again, the challenge we faced in this project was that the people who had been helped by this organization could not be asked to come on camera to share their story. So what we suggested was to take letters written by these people to the organization and bring these letters to life in a way that only film can. Given the warm reception to the film we made for Bnei Olam Baltimore, Bnei Olam asked us to take this idea of the multi-generational story and bring it up to a whole nother level. This resulted in a project called Don't Forget to Dream, which is a 15-minute film that tells the story of a granddaughter and her bubby over the course of 20-some years, beginning with the granddaughter as a young girl, and then as she grows up and becomes a young woman, and then years after her marriage. To tell the story, we had to craft a full script and then find the appropriate actresses, both for the bubby as well as the granddaughter as she grows up through the years, and then to find the locations and costumes that match the time and place in which a story happened. Once again, the idea of this project was to reach deeper into the Bnei Olam story, that no matter the situation, in good times and difficult times, the dream remains the same. To have a child, to build a future, and to become another link in this story that is the Jewish people. Towards the spring, we were approached by Spotlight Design on behalf of Sikhs in English. They wanted us to make a documentary film as part of a wide marketing campaign for the new set of the Kutei Sikhs in English. The idea was to tell a very large story that begins with the Rebbe's Farbrengen, and then talks about the sichos that were delivered at the Farbrengen, and then how those sichos were edited and reviewed, and then published as a Likutei Sichos, and then how those sichos were translated into English, and finally how all of that came together in this beautiful new set that they were just publishing. To tell this very large story in an efficient way, we first had to figure out who are the right people to interview to help tell the story with precision. Once we interviewed these people, we then had to take those interviews with hours and hours of archival footage of the Farbrengen, as well as a process of editing the sichos at the Farbrengen, and bring that all together in an intuitive and efficient narrative that we called Sicha, or the untold story of the Lubavitcher Rebbe's magnum opus. We were approached by Rezathon to create a video campaign for the annual Hatzalathon. This year's idea was to tell the story of Hatzalah not only through the lens of the medical encounter, but through the lens of the relationship that Hatzalah has with the community that surrounds these encounters. What we came up with was a short film that showed both the medical encounter, but also the ongoing relationships that preceded this encounter and then followed this encounter. We called this film exactly what it was: This Story Never Ends. While this was going on, we were working on an internal project called This World is a Garden. This World is a Garden is a one-of-a-kind production that combines film with a live musical performance by a string quartet to tell the story of Basili Gani, the 300-year vision of the 7 Lubavitcher Rebbe's, that this world should be experienced the way God sees it, as His garden. We shot this film in a beautiful farm in upstate New York, and then in a gorgeous shul in New Haven, Connecticut, telling this story through the eyes of a modern-day farmer who is thinking about the message of Basili Gani as he goes about his day-to-day life. This beautiful film, together with original musical arrangements by Maestro Israel Edelson, will come together to create an hour-long program that shares a message of hope with dozens of communities around the world. In the summer, we were approached by DW Productions to create a number of short videos for Miami's Citywide event marking the Rebbe's 30th yahrzeit. To create these videos, we worked with our team to come up with a number of concrete themes for each of the videos, and then find the appropriate people to address those themes. We went to Miami to interview and film these people, and then came back to the studio where we brought these interviews together with archival footage to address these themes with the appropriate depth of personal and historical references. We were approached by our friends at Chaim Medical Sephardic Division, based in Flatbush, who wanted to bring their story to the community and raise awareness about their work to a whole nother level. Their idea was straightforward: let's interview and film as many people as possible, and then share as many stories as possible with the community. So over the course of a few days, we interviewed over 24 people, from which we made over a dozen short films that were then disseminated on all platforms around the community. We made sure that each of these films, short as they were, each had an emotional moment and message that brought home to the viewer the importance of the work that this organization does. After that, we were approached by Simha, Sephardic Initiative for Mental Health Awareness, who wanted to showcase to the community the work that they had done over the past couple years to build the infrastructure for those in the community who need help with their mental health. Once again, they wanted to create a bunch of short videos to tell their story from multiple angles. We told the story from the eyes of the people who run the organization, the people who are helped by the organization, as well as other community leaders and rabbis who could attest to the value that this organization brings to their community. For a few years now, Midsummer means for us here at Yuvla Media, working with our friends at Bnei Olam Crown Heights on their annual fundraising and awareness campaign. We've been working with Bnei Olam Crown Heights since their days as a young fledgling branch of Bnei Olam to where they are now, raising and distributing over $1 million each year within the community and helping dozens and dozens of couples become parents for the first time each year. Since we began working with them, the focus has always been to make sure that the community understands how much this organization is part of their community. This year we spoke to that idea from both sides. We told the story of a young man who grew up in Crown Heights and the special relationship that he had with his bubby over the years, continuing after his marriage when he and his wife struggled to have a child. On the other side, we crafted a series of short videos that showcased a number of individuals in the community who had chosen to volunteer on behalf of this wonderful organization. We ended off the year with a short video for Bnei Olam International that said thank you to all the donors, raisers, and volunteers that had helped realize the dreams of so many people around the world. For this project, we came up with the idea of honey in baby bottles that brings out the sweetness that is the arrival of each and every child into this world. Working with all of these organizations over the course of the year affords us here at Yuvla Media a special glimpse and vantage point into the work and kindness and chesed and generosity of our community. Looking forward to the year ahead of us, we wish all of our clients, as well as all of you, a Kesiva veChasima Tova for a sweet new year. May we all have a year of only good news to share and sweet stories to tell.